Welcome to this explainer. Today we are stepping into absolute black, setting the stage in a kind of cosmic lab to explore a really profound mystery of human experience. We're going to look at the very biology of truth. And I don't mean philosophical truth here. I'm talking about your nervous system's actual physical capacity to receive and process reality. Have you ever been incredibly frustrated because you logically know something? Like, you know you're safe, you know an awkward email isn't an actual life or death threat, but your body is absolutely panicking anyway? Well, let's dive into this deeply validating truth. You literally cannot just think your way out of feeling stuck. It's not a failure of your willpower, it's simply a matter of biology. And that brings us to the core thesis of our explainer today. You cannot intellectually process a higher perspective if your body is trapped in a chronic survival state. It is a physiological reality. I mean, think about it. When your biology is screaming that a tiger is chasing you, it completely shuts down the parts of your brain capable of processing nuanced, higher level truths. It just doesn't have the bandwidth. Let's look at what's actually happening under the hood. When a threat pops up, sensory information takes what we call the low road. It entirely bypasses your thinking brain up top, the medial prefrontal cortex, and shoots straight to the amygdala, which is your emotional, irrational brain. This triggers the fight, flight, or freeze response. In mere milliseconds, it literally hijacks your rational brain function. Boom, just like that. The scary part is that this doesn't just happen in the moment and vanish. It leaves a structural legacy. Cold, hard science from UC Berkeley shows us exactly how chronic stress rewires the brain. It actually causes stem cells to produce more myelin-producing cells, creating excess white matter. What this does is physically strengthen the connection between your memory center and your fear center, the amygdala, while at the same time impairing the inhibitory pathways from the prefrontal cortex. The pathways that are supposed to tell you, hey, calm down. The results? A brain that's structurally predisposed to view the world as a constant threat. Now, think of the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex as the brain's internal timekeeper. It tells us how the present relates to the past and the future. It's the part that gently reminds us, okay, this pain is temporary. But during an amygdala hijack, this whole system just breaks down. We completely lose our context. Time freezes, and that present danger feels like it's going to last forever. So the crucial point here is how this biological fight or flight state locks us into a very specific and honestly awful experience of reality. The ancient Greeks had a name for it, Chronos. Think of Father Time with a scythe. Chronos is quantitative, linear, anxious survival time. It is that frantic, ticking clock sensation where you are quite literally just trying to survive the next minute. Profound, expansive truth simply cannot enter a brain locked in Chronos. This biological reality forms the absolute foundation of Stephen Porges' groundbreaking Polyvagal Theory. Porges completely revolutionized our understanding of how our nervous system maps safety and danger, moving us way beyond just the simple idea of fight or flight. It all starts with this fascinating concept called neuroception. Basically, this is your nervous system's automatic, completely unconscious radar for detecting safety or danger in your environment. It operates entirely below your conscious awareness. And I really want to validate you again here. Your nervous system doesn't care at all about the sophisticated content of your thoughts. It cares about one single thing: are you safe? And its answer to that question determines whether you can heal, relate to others, or even think clearly. Evolution has essentially given us three distinct threat responses. On the newest end of the evolutionary scale, we have mammalian social engagement, like calling out for help. Right in the middle is the sympathetic nervous system, that classic mammalian fight or flight panic. But on the oldest end, the part we share with reptiles is the dorsal vagal collapse. When fighting or running fails, the body just shuts down, numbs out, and freezes to conserve energy. It really helps to think of these three states as a ladder. Up at the very top is the ventral vagal state. This is where you're safe, calm, and socially connected. Drop down a rung and you're in the sympathetic state, mobilized, hyper-aroused, ready to fight or flee. Drop all the way to the bottom and you hit the dorsal vagal state, complete shutdown and freeze. Chronic stress and trauma dysregulate this entire system. So many high achievers and trauma survivors are walking around chronically stuck in those lower two rungs, completely disconnected from the safety at the top. But when we do reach the top of that ladder, we access the ventral vagal complex. This is all driven by the vagus nerve, which is essentially the mind-body superhighway. When we activate this ventral branch, we bring our social engagement and safety systems back online. Your heart rate slows down, your breathing deepens, and suddenly, almost like magic, the higher regions of your brain are accessible again. And when we enter that ventral vagal state of safety, our experience of time radically shifts. We move out of that cruel, anxious Chronos time and into something the Greeks called Kairos. Now, Kairos is qualitative time. It's the opportune, perfect moment. It's a spiritual sense of time that is lifted entirely out of the ordinary, panicked busyness of survival. It's literally the state of divine timing. Notice the stark contrast here between these two states. Chronos is mechanical, driven by sympathetic survival and constant anxiety. Kairos, on the other hand, is opportune and driven by ventral vagal alignment. You absolutely cannot access Kairos while your body is in fight or flight. A physiological shift in your nervous system literally unlocks a completely different, reality-shifting experience of the world. There's this beautiful quote that captures this shift perfectly. The world takes a breath, and in the pause, before it exhales, fates can be changed. That is Kairos. That is exactly what it feels like when your nervous system is finally regulated and your body registers profound peace. In this pause, real insight and healing can actually land. So, to experience more of that Kairos, we have to expand what Dr. Daniel Siegel calls the window of tolerance. This is your optimal zone of arousal. Inside this window, your prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain, stays perfectly online. You can feel really strong emotions without being hijacked by them. Expanding your somatic capacity means widening this window, making it safe for higher truths to actually take root in your life. But how do we widen that window? Well, traditional talk therapy is what we call top-down. It starts in the thinking brain to try and create a map. But as we've just learned, if the body feels unsafe, the thinking brain is totally offline. We can't just think our way out of it. We have to use bottom-up processing. Somatic therapy works directly with this sensing brainstem and physical sensations to signal safety to the body first. This calms the survival state so that insight can naturally follow. One incredibly powerful bottom-up tool coming from pain reprocessing therapy is called somatic tracking. It's just 4 steps. First, find a quiet moment and take some deep breaths. Second, bring your attention to the uncomfortable sensation with pure curiosity. Don't try to fix it, just observe. Third, add a note of safety. Tell yourself, okay, this is uncomfortable, but I am not in danger. And fourth, induce a positive affect. Look at the sensation with a sense of lightness and self-compassion. This simple repetition teaches your brain a whole new response. The real magic here lies in not forcing the healing. We use a practice called pendulation. This is where you gently move your focus to the hard sensation, and then you intentionally swing back to a state of calm. Back and forth. Over time, this builds undeniable evidence in your nervous system that you can handle way more than you think. You are slowly, safely widening your window of tolerance. And this all builds toward an ultimate goal, the both and concept. This is all about integrating the wisdom of your mind with the physical intelligence of your body. We are removing all the shame here. Your mind creates the map, sure, but your body is the vehicle. They have to work together in this profound partnership. I want you to really let this thought sink in for a second. My body learned to protect me, and that protection is now limiting me. The hypervigilance that kept you safe in the past is the exact same anxiety keeping you stuck today. Your body is not the enemy. It was absolutely right back then. It did its job perfectly. It just needs a software update now to realize that the danger has finally passed. As the legendary psychiatrist Bessel van der Kolk says, the body keeps the score. We've traveled today from the cold neuroscience of an amygdala hijack all the way to the deeply embodied reality of somatic healing. Your nervous system is the gatekeeper to your reality. If you want to change your reality, you have to help your body feel safe enough to put down its armor. Which leaves us with this final lingering thought. What truths are waiting for your body to feel safe enough to receive them? As you begin expanding your somatic capacity, stepping out of that frantic Chronos and into Kairos, a whole new world of understanding is waiting for you. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.